No, si él se la sacó.
No, no me la saqué.
Dice que se le caía, pero yo creo que ya no.
Son hartas lagunitas que hay. Pero mira, con...
So this is this crater from which they get an awful lot of fresh water. It supposedly contains fish. It's very, very windy today up here, so probably get a lot of wind noise in the camera. Can't be avoided. It's always amazing just how round these things are. Floating reed, or whether it's solid foundation, or whether it's a mixture of both. I suspect most of it is floating. This is where we are now, Orongo or Orongo. Under the cult of the Moai, which was from about 1200 to 1600 or thereabouts, you contacted your ancestors through the Moai and you went to where they were standing to contact them. But from the 1500s onwards, people became very disillusioned with the Moai and many of them were lowered to the ground very, very carefully, so they weren't broken. But political influences in the Rapa Nui society led to the increasingly powerful warrior class and elder class. And under the cult of these the warrior class, or the elders, you could only contact your ancestors through them, not through the Moai. And over 200 years the Moai cult gradually disappeared and the Birdman cult was in the ascendancy. And over 200 years the Birdman cult became the sort of predominant cult on the island, in fact the only cult on the island until the arrival of the Roman Catholic missionaries. And these elders and the and powerful warriors who were also very important politically in the governance of the island, they were selected in a dream, although who dreamed it and what they dreamt I have no idea, but they were selected in a dream, and they chose a powerful young man, a good climber and a good swimmer, and they sponsored him, this lad or this youth or this young man. And in 1760 this ceremony began, and they had to climb, these young fellas had to climb down this cliff, which is hell of a height in front of me here, and swim out to that fire island and collect of all things, a sooty tern's egg. and then swim back with the blooming thing. Lots of them drowned. I mean, there were sharks as well, and they used to grab them as they went past. So it's a pretty grim existence. Although I would imagine you'd be quite pleased to be chosen by one of these all-powerful people. And the first of these young men who present this sooty turn's egg to his sponsor, his sponsor became the Birdman for the year, and with all the political privileges and probably financial privileges that came with it. And no doubt, if you were the young fellow, your sponsor would look after you very, very well. Thank you very much. And this carried on for over 100 years, from 1760 till 1860. But by this time, the Catholic missionaries were all powerful, and it was Jesus and Mary or nothing. It certainly wasn't the Birdman cult, that was for sure. And they put the stoppers to it. They knocked it on there, and that was the end of it. And these are the houses, little low, flat, squat things set into the ground. So this is the construction of a house with half the roof off. You see there's a very, very thick stone roof with grass growing on it, and a very, very thick wall, double wall, with turf and soil piled in between. The weather must have been horrendous up here. And that little hole there was the only way in. You had to crawl in and crawl out, and it was the only source of light as well. They lined it with grass and reeds, rushes, but it was pitch black inside apart from this little entrance here. And there are quite a number of these houses here which have been renovated. So here we are back at the crater, and you can see there where the lip has been eroded away on the seaward side. It just drops straight into the sea off the edge of there. Fascinating how it has these sort of floating reeds on, whereas the other one at the other end of the island didn't have anything of this at all. It was just reeds around the outside. Maybe it's very, very shallow. I was reading somewhere that they put some fish in here to try and reduce the mosquito infection. Of course, dengue fever is always a problem in a place like this, and seemingly it's been a problem here at some time. I mean, it's not a killer like malaria, but it makes you pretty ill. It's like bad flu. And you can see more of these low-rise houses. They are in fact set into the ground quite a bit. If you set them into the ground, it means you don't need as much material to build them with. You just dig a hole, and as long as it's got good drainage, then it shouldn't be a problem. But digging a hole and putting a low wall and a roof on the top is very, very common. Even the sod busters in America, they had these funny little houses sunk into the ground. The sort of first settlers, it must have been horrendous there, with temperatures about -40. But anyway, here, temperature is not the problem. Wind is, and rain, I would imagine, at certain times of the year, but wind definitely. I've seen quite a few of these little birds. Their little chirrupy noise. Sitting there in the breeze.
Kde?
To víš, já ti to řeknu, se ještě jít podívat, nic.
Na nížce.
So not only were we bringing them diseases and goodness knows what, in 1886 the Americans came on some ship, demolished 3 houses and pinched all the frescoes which were inside. And it continued from there on in. People came raiding them, especially for the frescoes. They just pinched them and just left all the rubbish. This moai was pinched by the British. It was presented to Queen Victoria. It's now in the British Museum. It's actually carved in basalt. It's one of the only ones that were carved in basalt, which is obviously very, very hard stuff and retains its features quite well. I wonder if the Easter Islanders asked for it back. The British would give them it. Catherine Routledge, her husband, she was a sort of anthropologist. She was at the forefront of raising the awareness of Easter Island and these moa. Nevertheless, she felt she had to pinch one as well. So this one she took, and it's in a museum in Oxford in England. Unfortunately, nobody can even remember where it was, what its position was, which is really sad. This is very close to Hangarui, this cave. A legend cave. Information about it. It's connected to this Birdman cult.
¿Quién es?
So there's a little bit of information about it. The cave is at the head of this cove. You can see it here, and at this time of day the sun shines in, which makes it much easier to see. The back of the cave is quite dangerous, obviously. You can see the roof fall here, and it'll squash you flat. But you can see here, in the ceiling, some very old paintings. I suspect before the roof fell in there were many, many more of these, but it looks like almost a sedimentary rock. It's in layers and they're just peeling off. So I suspect a lot of it has been lost. Oh yeah, it's very difficult to tell. Red ochre and white. This is the closest aha to Hangaroa, which is about 20 minutes walk. It's nice. Most people come here for the sunset. You can see today that their faces are in shade. Well, for such an interesting complex and so close to Hangaroa, it's a great disappointment to find that all the information has disappeared and not been replaced, which is a bit of a shambles, really. It has an almost intact pukao. It also has its eyes painted in. See, yeah, it's just a great shape. The light isn't in the right way around. And also here are these, or an example of these low houses with a single entrance and window. And it would seem that you can go inside these. I might just go and have a look in. I suspect they're used for all sorts of disgusting habits. Anyway, let's have a wander. And this is a little bay where they landed their canoes. They're few and far between these little places. Just a pity there's a little bit of cloud on the horizon. It's just... If you come into Easter Island, you stay at Hangaroa, then these are probably the first moai you will see, a genuine moai. I mean, there are in town there's lots of made-up moai, but these are probably the first genuine ones you will see. And there they are in the early morning sunshine. Well, I've come back to Tahai in Hangaroa in early morning. It's now 9:15. Things don't start warming up in a town about 10 o'clock. There's absolutely nobody here. But it's nice in this early morning sunshine. And it's got its eyes painted in. There's a panorama of the whole site. It's quite big, but the most impressive is that big moai at the far end, and his pukao and his painted eyes. I'm not sure whether they had painted eyes or not when they were made. Anyway, this one's got painted eyes. They're quite effective, they are, as well. all facing inland, away from the ocean.
No, no, o sea, párate. Ya, estira la mano derecha. O sea, izquierda tuya. ¿Ves? Ya, y ahora vuelve así. Más abajo. Más. ¿Qué estás intentando hacer? Es muy grande. ¿Cómo es? La vista es mejor.
Well, that's it. That's my last evening on Easter Island. This time tomorrow I'll be back in Santiago. But what a wonderful experience. Absolutely amazing. And at sunset there at Hangaroa just summed it all up. This is the flight out to Santiago at 6 o'clock in the evening from Easter Island.